All right, here we go. As promised in my daily update, if you're new to the channel, I do daily videos, yeah, pretty much every day on the latest in Kickstarter, board game, and tabletop game releases. Which ones maybe I'll be backing, which ones not, and what's ending on Kickstarter that day. I do that daily. I try to keep it under 20 minutes or so. It depends. Some days are hotter than others, of course. But today I want to talk about Heroquest and my opinions on it. Now, let it be known that, of course, if you enjoy the Heroquest campaign that Hasbro is running and you're liking what you're seeing with the new game, more power to you. I have no problem with that. I'm just going to share my opinions, good and bad, on the game, as I'm a huge fan of the first one. I did play it. I got it when I was 9 years old. It was the greatest Christmas gift you could get.
Heed well my words, for I am
And
Mentor,
then I actually,
guardian
and I
of
just played it as toys for
I
many
come
years
with
when I was
great
little.
warnings.
And then around high school, I did play it
Decades.
with my friends. Some of the fondest board game memories I've had. But, if you've had a Heroquest, how limited it is as a game. It kind of gets repetitive, and there's obviously better games now that are out. So, let me get to this. Okay, let's see what's out. So, if you've been watching this, you've already seen this, and you're just looking for extra opinions, maybe reasons to fund or not fund. I'm going to try to push you maybe, well, I'm not going to try to push you on anything. I'm just going to share why I'm probably not going to fund it, but I'm going to try to look at the positives and negatives. So, first of all, Training Quest. So this is some news that they release, which isn't much. I mean, they had a long time, 2 months to release news, and this is all they finally released. I mean, look at Kickstarter games. They release stuff every day sometimes, and awesome stuff. This is a big company, and come on now. So anyway, what do they have here? The new Druid. No, that's a Warlock, sorry. And then the Druid's here, and we'll be looking deeper into that later. So this is their news section. Not too much going on here. So let's take a look at their main page, their funding page. It is finishing in 6 hours. Okay, let's get into the meat of it. What do I like? So when I first saw this, I thought, cool, awesome. They did the right thing. And I did watch Bardic broadcasts, a video of it and his predictions. And of course, he's known for having the greatest Heroquest video ever made on YouTube. All right, let me talk about this scene first. Oh, goodness. I don't want to make this too long, but okay. So why I put Disney in the title of this video? Well, let me make sure that this is recording. So, well, look, compare this. Damn, I should have had the original artwork prepared to compare it with. But if you look at the original artwork, his head, it's not perfectly the dimensions aren't perfect in the original, but it doesn't matter. It relayed the power of the scene more than well, this one. Damn, I should have had that one ready. Let me see if I can pull it up maybe real quick. Let me see here. So I do want to show you, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you've already seen that. The original, of course, the original artwork. Hero Quest art. Okay. Because I want to make the point more clear. Okay. Here we go. There is the original box art. By the way, if you're looking at a relaunch and doing something unique, this artwork is amazing. I do love this Orc one, Orquest. But there's the new one. Okay, so here's the original. There's an image with both side to side. If I see it real quick, then I'll pull it out. If not, it's all good. You see how big his head is? I mean, it's an important part of the image, right? Seeing the barbarian's face. Where do we see it here? It's small. I mean, look at the size of that. Okay, so it's got the whole cartoonish exaggeration. Stylized. It's more stylized. Whereas the old one is more... let me Is this good? Why is it so small? Oh, goodness. This is ridiculous. Okay. Anyway, as you see, the old one is more realistic in a sense. It's not as stylized. They did change a couple things like the wizard and here. They added the elf, whereas the elf here was here. Okay, so people already talked about these changes. My problem with it is I don't mind if they're going to go a little Disney on it. That's fine, but when it's over exaggerated, such as the sword, I'm really disliking that sword. I mean, look at that sword. You might be already used to seeing it, but compare it with that. That looks like a real sized and sharp sword. This looks like a Lego sword. That's a little bit of a turnoff, but not enough to get me from funding it. I'm still really proud that they went this way and like remade it. I mean, that's really what people were looking for. So let's get deeper into that. It's a big box. It's the original Heroquest box, kind of, but bigger. And you know, another thing that's funny. I mean, this is Hasbro doing it, right? Launching this big campaign. But again, look at Mythic Games or all these other big board game companies on Kickstarter and how they launch their games. And look how professional it is compared to this. Look at the corner here. They just stuck the image here on the side of just a 3D box, and they didn't even scale it right. They couldn't even push that corner up to fit in and hide that white whatever is showing underneath. Come on. I mean, that's yes, I'm nitpicking, but you know, if you're going to be Hasbro, something that's a multi-million-dollar company, full-out company that makes toys, come on, get your marketing right, especially if you're looking to fund, you know, over at least $1 million of target money. All right, so what did they do awesome? Well, this screen is cool, so they added the screen. I didn't like how it's kind of grayed out at the beginning, but I do like it. I do like kind of everything about it. We'll talk more about the gargoyle in depth and stuff like that, but they did the right thing. I mean, one thing Bardic was saying that I think they did succeed on is they didn't remake the original well. True, I think so. But they did create something that they can put into stores like Target. I don't know if they will, but if they do, it will be that game that kids nowadays will be their Heroquest. So they are successful on that. I will say that. They created something that could be, for the new generation, their new Heroquest, their new first board game in their life. And kudos on that, because they did do a full remake of it. And, you know, when you're young and you're seeing this kind of art style and comparing it with all the other stuff in mobile games you're seeing, then it works. It's hard to compare your vision with someone that's much younger and depending on, you know, what they've seen and what they like. So my biases aside, I think what they did as a project, they listened to the people, they remade the game, but they remade it too much, and that's my other problem with it. They said that the rules are pretty much mostly the same. They just tweaked a little bit of things, but if you remember the original Heroquest, it gets dull very quick because it is that simple. Finally, there's no reason to like walk your heroes back when there's a closed door, because nothing's attacking them, so you just skip that whole thing. Things like that I remember. You know, it's been a while. They should make creatures or certain creatures be able to open doors and things like that and make it more challenging. That is their biggest flaw. That is why I have no reason to fund it. It's not that good of a game, honestly, unless they change more to it. I haven't seen anything new. And it doesn't have solo. If it had solo mode, I think I'd be on top of it immediately. So let's take a look at more details. The board's the same. They just shifted this to this side, which people like because your dungeon master or whatever can sit on this side, right? And all the players can sit on these sides. He's not taking up like one full of the bigger sides, you know. So that's a pretty cool setup. That works. Again, it's the same board. I'd be fine with seeing something new, but it's the same, which is cool, but you have to change up the rules. All right, the Barbarian. This is so annoying how it zooms in like that. So the Barbarian looks good. He looks all right. Not liking, again, it's Disney, right? It's not looking too cartoonish, like too childish, but it is looking like Disney-ish very much. You don't see, like, look at this Barbarian's face. Sorry. Look at his face. I mean, it's ugly. You don't need your hero to always have a big chin and be handsome. He is just as ugly looking as the monsters, and I'm totally into it because he is a monster himself. And the other characters have their own appearances, but damn, just looking into it now, I'm just sinking into it. The whole feels of the painting, it's amazing, the nostalgic effects that it has. Now, what I don't also like is they exaggerated different things. Like the original, they didn't exaggerate much. In Stylized, they're going to exaggerate stuff, but they exaggerate weird things. Like they didn't make his head big on the front image. I would think they do the opposite, right? Being kind of cartoony. Then they made his feet so big and prevalent. And I'm not going to look and compare with the old miniatures, but why? And then the sandals, they could have gave him some boots. I'm not really, I like that they went with sandals and they took that risk because I think sandals are definitely not as just cool. They don't have a cool factor. So it's cool that they took that risk, but so what's the point of the hair, the fur up here when you got a naked foot here? And it's just like, there's some material. I didn't even notice that. There's just some material there that ends and the foot is naked. Wouldn't you want your foot just as protected as your calves, if not more? Yeah, not liking the sandaled look. Everything else I'm fine with. I hate the big sword. We can take that out, but whatever. Let's take a look at the dwarf. I do like the dwarf that they went with a certain... They give him a cultural feel. It's not just some dwarf. You can see he's like... For me, he looks kind of like islandish, certain islandish cultural people. So that's what he looks like. Let me just make sure I'm still recording. Yep. And so I like that. I like that they gave him a feel, like what kind of culture he could be coming from. He's got more tan skin, if not, really dark. I like that they offered that so you can play around with that. He's pretty cool. Again, the huge axe. What I'm not liking is he has no body. His body's fully covered in his hair and his arms. He has no like belly, no like region there to like show off his big belly or small belly or body armor. It's completely covered with his big beard, which is cool, but then his arms. But he's just a head with arms and legs. He's just a head with arms and legs and an axe. Anyway, he is cool. The axe, overblown, but for the dwarf, we can take it. Even the original dwarf had a huge axe. Okay, the elves have gorgeous sculpts, to be honest. Especially when I saw the male, which is a copy of the female, but I didn't really realize until I saw it again. So here's the elf. The elf looks like it's from a different game. It's not that stylized. It looks great. It looks realistic. The sword size is realistic for a miniature. I have nothing to complain about it. I mean, it's completely different than the original elf and more armor, but it's really a gorgeous mini. And there's the wizard. Nothing much to say about him. I do like his new staff. That's an awesome staff. I think the old staff was just a staff, a stick with a little embeveled top. So this one definitely looks it looks better. I love this staff, actually. This wizard looks great. He just looks I hate this image. He looks so young. He looks like some protagonist and he looks like a friend of Aladdin, in a Disney flick. No, that's not what I'm looking to fight monsters and gutting them with, intestines falling out in my imagination. It's not that guy. But yeah, they could have made him a little older, or why does he have to be so, like, he doesn't need to be hot. He's just a wizard, and he looks, too smooth. He looks like the elf now. Let's distinguish the wizard and the elf a little bit more, Okay, let's move along. So there's their art. Again, see, the elf is like less stylized. It looks good. The Barbarian's too stylized. Just, they made things look attractive. Things don't have to be attractive to have good aesthetics, Okay, what do I think about these? The Witch King, or I think that's called Witch Lord, or whatever. I think they have different titles too, some of them. Yeah, it's been a while since I looked in depth at this campaign, so sorry about that. But he looks great here. Nothing to complain. He's a little bit stylized, but you can fit him into anything. I like how the staff is actually stylized. because you can make an item like not a sword, but a staff or something totally stylized and have a character that looks totally normal because it's just how it's created. So I really like how he looks. Actually, that's a pretty nice mini. Looking at the gargoyle now. The gargoyle. Okay, what I do love about it is they made him a gargoyle. They made him look like he's out of stone, and you don't see that very often with gargoyle miniatures. So I think that gargoyle, as far as that, is awesome. What I don't like now, look at the original box. Actually, you're not going to see it there. Sorry, what am I doing here? Clicking all over the place. That's just a video I did earlier. Okay, so he's not here. He's on the other picture. The way he stands in the original Heroquest, sorry, 2 games I loved, EverQuest and Heroquest. If you can agree on those 2, give me a huzzah in the comments. But he stood with the arms like straight out. Like these arms are kind of bent. It's fine, but the other one like straight out. One arm held a whip, one arm held the sword that he has here on the left side. Okay, so first of all, how that one had more impression to me than this one is that one had an open mouth. He was screaming. He wasn't like yelling. He wasn't like going, he wasn't doing a growl. He had his jaw completely down. And I think when he's got this position of opened arms, he should have an open mouth because that's a high energy move. And here he has kind of open, but the mouth's closed, and he's a gargoyle, so he can stay as a statue in this. So it's okay. But I definitely liked it when it had that open mouth and it was on the picture, of the where the DM's board right there. And here his mouth is kind of open, right? So we'll see. These aren't final miniatures, and let it be known, these aren't final miniatures, but they probably mostly are. Let's be honest. The other thing, I don't know what the point is of him having they made the sword even bigger and almost two-handed if you look at there. And then they give him a huge axe, like a two-handed axe. With the two-handed sword, it's like, yeah, he can handle two-handed weapons just fine. It's cool that they show that, but it's not that, like, it doesn't work. It looks like it would be clumsy fighting with these 2 weapons. That lacks with the long arm here, the long handle. It would just be getting in the way, and it's not really versatile when you're using 2 weapons. You want them to be smaller so that you can shift them around. It's not about showing off what you can handle in strength. It's about the versatility of the weapon, and I think putting that axe in there was not the best option. I do like the original whip. Originally, he had a whip here that goes around. That was cool. I could see you using a whip and the sword, but why this weapon and the sword? This is like, I don't know, it's like the worst option for going with another weapon. They could have chosen something else. Make that axe smaller. Like make it a smaller axe. Some crazy cool, axe, but with the long handle like that, I think that's just a bad choice in second weapon. They might change it. I really hope they do, because that's kind of an obvious thing. I think but again, this is more geared toward the younger people, so not so obvious. The orcs are looking great. They're stylized to some degree, but not too crazy. I mean, they're monsters. They love the big feet. Apparently, this artist loves making big feet. They really want to show miniature feet. I'm fine with it if it has, the right place for it. The weapons are huge and bulky, almost too much. When you start looking at the orcs and realize how cool the orcs are and all the armor, and then you start going back to the weapons, they're just looking worse every time. They're just too blocky and big. But anyway, for a miniature, the orcs are pretty awesome. That's a cool improvement. And having a female option of orcs, that's all cool. I'm loving it, actually. That's cool. The zombie is great. I'm all right for the zombie. Heroquest zombies held a weird weapon. It didn't look like they knew how to maneuver it very well, but they held it. So that goes along with the theme. So well done on that. They did so many cool things, There's so much. The way they went with Heroquest here is like right through the middle. You'd know if they did this too much, people would complain. You know if they did this too much, people would complain. But they went down the middle where both sides have something to complain about, but not completely, because they really did go to the source. They made the same game. I mean, really, it's pretty cool. It's pretty gutsy. and it's not the norm. Usually they remake something and they completely remake everything. So anyway, that zombie is cool. He does have a shield. He even has a shield and the sword. Yet, I mean, their stats are going to be crap. Or I don't remember, but they're going to be the old stats. So can he really use that shield? Zombie is cool. And look, the zombie is not stylized. Look at his sword size. That's a normal zombie mini. Look at the mummy. I mean, it's cool, but look how stylized it is. I've been wanting to point this out to somebody so long, is that this mummy looks like he's in the wrong place. He looks like he's in the wrong game. Or the zombie does. One of them does. Because this zombie looks like it's a regular proportional mini of a zombie. And this looks like it's a Disney-ish, cartoon, just exaggeration. I mean, look at the reps, right? They go out of the way. They go big here and there. And his movement is really, his poses, it's actually great. But his hand, I hope his hand isn't that huge. It's probably not. That's just the image. Big feet again. And look at the zombie's foot. It's like a different artist did them. I'll bet you these were done by a different artist. And that's the problem. You shouldn't be able to see that from a big company like that. When different artists do something, it needs to blend in, right? So it just looks like this mummy's from a different game, from a more stylized theme. Like everything was stylized, right? The Orcs less so, but they can still go with that zombie. But this guy's totally stylized. So I'm thinking, but he looks cool though. I'm not gonna say anything bad. I like his position. He just looks fast though. I love the old Heroquest mummies. Damn, I should have had that ready, because they look slow but really powerful. Like it looked, if that mummy would hit you over the head, he would just knock you out instantly. I don't get that vibe with this mummy. This mummy looks like he's gonna run after you and jump on your back. And that's not what the rules say it does, so why does he look like that? So you know what I mean? Nitpicking in the theme here, sure, but, just comparing it. So I'd say simmer down on the stylism of the mummy a little bit, and just leave the zombie alone. He looks great. Okay. The cards are awesome. The new art they did, the colorful art on the front, very cool, fine. It goes with the whole theme, it's colorful. And the other side is still like sepia. It's beautiful. That's so cool they did that. So huzzah to you guys for doing that. And then you have the female versions, which only come with this backer thing. So, and then hopefully you can still buy them later. But I love that they created everything in a female format. I think that's totally awesome. I think most games should do that. Or offer an extra pack that you can buy where you can have female versions of it. I think that's a great idea. So you have the female barbarian with their big feet and sandals. Come on, even the dwarf has boots. Everybody else has boots. Why does he have sandals? If you're going to give him sandals, like, don't give him that top. Give him cool sandals that are kind of Trojan, kind of like the Greek ones, where they tie really high and they just look better, aesthetically. So anyway, she looks like him. She looks good though. There's the female dwarf, not bearded. That's a EverQuest reference. And the look at that elf. He looks amazing. I mean, just look at that mini. I want to point it with it, but it zooms it up. Look at it. That's a gorgeous mini. Look at all those details. That is a really nice elf. If you're looking for like a quality high elf to play in any of your RPGs, I think that's an awesome option. The wizard is, it's meh. They could have made her thing a little longer here for the female version. They could have changed something. You don't just have to put a female head on top of the same model, kind of thing. They could have made it a little bit different with the aesthetics of her clothing, right? Same with the elves. Finally, they look like the same thing with a different head and a little bit change in pose, maybe. This dwarf I like too, because you can see the body a little bit. The other one's covered in beard. So this one's not so much a head with arms and legs. You can actually see the breastplate and her skirt, chain skirt, I think. So anyway, this is a very cool option. I am so happy they did that. I hope more companies follow in that. Here are the elemental cards. Make sure everything's showing up here. Yep. The elemental cards are looking great. I love the old ones, but they are a little soft, right? These ones are totally action packed. They're totally awesome. I'm totally okay with what's going on here. They're cool. All right, so we're almost done here. So we did look at the details I wanted to point out with the miniatures. And you do get this guy that you rescue, Sir Ragnar, and he's not stylized too much. Look at him. His feet are pretty normal. I like him. He's good. He looks good. All right. I hope they change that weapon. Dread Warriors. What are these? Okay. So before you had Chaos Warriors, now they changed it to Dread because of copyright. So you have the Dread Sorcerer instead of Chaos Sorceress or Chaos Lord. Skeletons. So the Chaos Warrior, again, I love the old one because they look so powerful. They're so stationary. Their pose, they're just standing there because it's so much weight, it's so much power. While this guy, you can see the power with him, kind of the weight moving with him. So they're okay. I can't complain. The skeletons are a little too done out. I mean, they're got this armor and all this, whereas, the skeletons aren't that powerful in this game. This one looks like he's a skeleton lord, but that's how all of them look. And they have the same kind of bottom area like that. Yeah, very stylistic, very Disney-ish cartoon feel with that style at the calves. Anyway, let's go on. The orcs, I love what they did with the orcs. And you know what I love maybe the most in this whole game are the goblins. I am loving the goblins. Even though I talk about stylistic, I don't see that these goblins have to be stylistic. They are beautiful. I love their heads. They look like gremlins. They just have a different anatomical features. That's how I take it. I would put these goblins into any other game out there where you want unique goblins, because goblins look awesome. And one of the best parts about goblins are their heads. And having a species with such large heads, instead of looking these as like just cutesy miniatures, I don't, because they're not. They don't look cutesy, and the heads they're goblins. They're not human. The heads don't have to be proportional, and that's how I see them. These look like just totally awesome goblins to mix in with the different goblin races that you may have. Really, I do like them. Why can't I zoom in on those goblins? Are we done with this list? We pretty much are. I mean, look at the goblins here. They're so cool. Look at that mummy. He's so full of energy. Mummies are supposed to be slow. He's supposed to be slower than that zombie. Their movement is very slow. And look at him. He looks like he'll chase you down. My goodness. Okay, so moving along now. There's the mummy. There's the... Okay, so finally let's talk about the new addition, and that's the Abominations. Basically the fish folk. And I'm happy they added this one. They had to replace the Fimmers, right? The Fimmers were the one-eyed monsters with the tail, with a club on the end. They had to be replaced because those were Warhammer-owned Fimmers. Awesome creatures. If they had to replace them with something fishmen, I think are a good choice. I don't know if this particular look, but you know why? Because Conan, I gave it away. Heroquest is influenced by Conan. Conan is from Robert E. Howard, which collaborated, I think, and was even influenced probably by Lovecraft. What does Lovecraft have a lot of? Fish folk, the deep ones. All right. All those creatures from Lovecraft's that everybody knows, like Cthulhu, they're all ocean-based. They're all like fishy folk. That's what this is. So that's why this is kind of here, too. They kind of, they chose the right thing to add if you're looking at the writers of the things Heroquest was influenced by. Excuse me. Doesn't look that great, though. It looks a little too flat to me. Maybe too big of a head. I mean, why call it an abomination? Just call it a deep one. Well, yeah, they can. Or just call it a fish folk. Or a fish monster or something. A monster from the deep. Don't call it an abomination when you can clearly tell it's a fish monster. That's one thing that bugs me just a little bit. Not a big deal. But I'm not sure if I like that mini so much. Something could be changed. Maybe the head's smaller. Maybe it changing more. Like, for me, an abomination would be more of a deep one, because a deep one is more of a mix between a fish person and a human. So they're kind of handicapped a lot of the time, because one of the arms is developing more into a fishy arm while the other one's still human. So it has this really imbalanced and distorted look to it. That to me would be an abomination. This is straight out more of a fishman. It is cool. I'm maybe just the head's too big. I don't know, but that's kind of cool too. I don't know. Let me know what you think below on this fishman, because something's bothering me. I know there are a lot of people aren't fans of it. I'm totally okay with it being here and having that freaky type of fish, like deep sea fish, the ones that live very deep underwater in the complete darkness and lure, smaller fish with the glowing thing. That's what it reminds me of. That's what it's based on, and that's totally cool. Like a viperfish. It's the face here, if you look at the drawing, looks just like a viperfish almost. That's cool. A viperfish humanoid? That's so sweet, but it looks a little bit, maybe that there's too much armor. Maybe just let it be more wild, more free, like the creature that it is, instead of making it clothed and looked like, they already have their own, like, developed civilization. I want it to look more brutal, more savage. Okay, now all the 3D decor, the dungeon decor, they're all miniatures, which is awesome. And I have nothing bad to say about any of them, I think. They took away the cardboard pieces to made it all miniature. They're beautiful. I'm not sure if some are like overly stylized, like the top of the bookcase. Is it a little too big? I'm not sure. That could just be the perspective in ZBrush they took on here or whatever. Treasure chest is looking nice. Look at that throne. We don't have enough thrones in board games. Hashtag thrones or something like that. We need more thrones, throne miniatures. And that throne, look at that. It's got the little heads here. If they produce that right, this would be an amazing, it would be just a lovely miniature to paint. I love that they give you the extra, well, they give you that anyway, in the original, the mice, but different, a variety of skulls, not just human. Look at this one, exaggerated. Okay, I'm going to have to see this when it's, made. So you got this human one, this orcish one, then these like really unhuman and animal skulls. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. You get all that for $100, and then these are the expansions. The expansions you get if you fund it for more. And you do get the original wizard. I didn't know that was in one of the expansions, right? I guess he was. But that's cool to see the actual wizard, the mentor wizard. And the Witch Lord. The Witch Lord looks good. He's a bit thin. They're going to have to... That's not the actual model, obviously. You get it more stuff. Okay, now where the sadness comes in again. Mythic Tier unlocks. So look at this. This is... Oh, goodness. Look at Kickstarters, man. Look at what they give you. Watch the other videos on YouTube and you'll know what I mean. So I'm not going to dig into that too much. For $200,000 more dollars, you get this shaman and, no, the warlock. Oh, goodness. Like, they made these characters look more and more Disney. I mean, this is a halfling, I think, warlock, which is already like, what? Okay, fine. It's a rare one. But then she looks like so friendly and coming into play. I mean, these are the darkest dungeons of bloody murder, and you have this coming out with petal roses. Yeah, not a huge fan of the approach. I'm fine with the warlock halfling, if that's what it is, but they could have made a warlock halfling, not this. Sorry. It's not the conception, it's the presentation of it. Okay, get some more dice. Here, now you get 2 extra skeletons. Cool, not a big deal. 2 extra goblins. The goblins look... I like the goblins. They're so gremlinish to me. Okay, quest book. Extra skeletons. You got females. That's cool. I love that they mixed in the females and the males, because you would have that with skeletons, and you would have that with zombies, right? You'd have just as many female zombies. Okay, druid here. Okay, here's the druid. Like, in the concept, you're thinking, wow, a druid. Remember when they had druid in Diablo 2? He was awesome. I loved playing the druid. You change into a werewolf. And other games, look at the druid here. Isn't this like the most, like, I hate using this word because the word is what it is, lame. I hate using the word lame because the word lame is lame. But it's just like the lamest druid I've ever seen. Yeah, people love druids, especially in like MMOs. Everybody loved playing the druid. what? Look at the stance. It's like it's not even. She's not even like. She doesn't have to be athletic, but if she's gonna be like have the body of the average, let's say American, then put her in a cool pose. Make her do something cool. Give her some more cool things like skins and leaves and feathers. It's just so boring, that position. At least fix the pose if you're not going to add any more aesthetically to it. It's very uninspired. It's very uninspired, and I'm actually really surprised with the game this level. They made a druid look like this. This is a druid you would see in a like $100,000 funded Kickstarter board game where people would be saying, well, their miniatures kind of suck, but the game looks good. Well, look at this. And people are still funding, but yeah, she's a stretch goal, so whatever. Some more orcs that you get, another mummy. Look at that positioning. They made it so childish. I mean, look at the original Heroquest. There was nothing in it that was geared so much toward kids other than the commercial with the younger boys playing it. Everything else looked like it could be in a totally adult themed movie. That's what was awesome. And I appreciate when I was 9 years old, I liked that stuff. When I was 9, I didn't look for these exaggerated things. I still loved Heroquest. It never hit me that, wow, this is too realistic or these skeletons are so scary. What? They're scary? It's a miniature. Which one of your 9-year-old kids is going to freak out about a scary miniature? That's, maybe 4 or 5 years old? I don't know. Let me know out there, fathers and mothers. But yeah, again, that position, it's like, that's kind of fun because you don't have that a lot of miniatures. But it's like, what's the point of that? To look creepy? To look creepy? You're already an undead zombie. You have no emotions, no feelings, but you have to raise your hands like that. Why? It's like a old 50s or 40s movie, from 1940s. So anyway, the mummies, I think they changed them too much. One of my favorite miniatures in Heroquest or memorable were the mummies because they look so good. I don't think I've seen like ornamented or mummies with jewels and gems that look better. But as far as a plain mummy, I absolutely love the ones from the original Heroquest. They look heavy and they look powerful, man. They look scary without doing intimidating childish moves like that. They're just walking toward you, and that's freaky enough because you can relate to it because it looks real. This, is that scary if you yeah, it's still in real life, yeah, but it's like it's trying to be scary. It's contrived. Okay, Spirit Queens, okay, new quest, and then Bard Hero. Everybody wants a Bard Hero. That's what I always hear in MMO games. The Bard, you love playing the Bard. What is this? What? Why is he so friendly looking and smiling? I mean, what happened? Like everything else, everybody's looking angry and dangerous. Then you start getting these boring, uninspired characters. And then finally you get a orc hero you can play, which is so exciting. But look at him. Do you still want to play him? Is this the orc you pictured you would be playing? That's too much. Too much like softness. Do a orc singer, but make him blow a big, a war horn. Do it something cool and testosterone packed because it's an orc. They have like 10 times the testosterone of a human. But look, he's like singing. He looks like an opera singer. Well, yeah, that's what it made him. They made it very comedic looking, and I think it kills the whole vibe. And that's what I think with the whole campaign. It's not that the whole vibe of the campaign is comedic. It looks like some of it's really serious and scary. Like this zombie. Look at that orc. And then some of it's like this and this. It's uninspired and too silly. It's a mix. It's a bit of a mess. And I think before they produce these out, they're gonna have to balance it out a little better. I think they should. Extra abominations. Now this abomination looks better to me. This abomination looks like an abomination. I'm not seeing armor, and his skin looks crazy, like boiled and all this. Boiled and bubbled. So that's cool. The Dread Chaos Warrior, that's just a cool mini. He looks cool. Extra Dread Sorcerer. Wow, you get another Sorcerer. What? I don't look at that position though. I mean, how much work does it take to make a mini like this? You know, when you have preset humanoid parts already, they better make this a lot better. This pose is nah, that's not working. Look at this. Look at that versatility. Look how three-dimensional this miniature is. And then look at this. That's weak. Oh, you get one. Whoa, you get one more gargoyle. That's really cool. How close are we to that funding? Let's see. They are at 3.5 and they need 3.8. So I think we're going to get it. Well, or they'll get it. Another gargoyle. That's cool. Okay, and then this one is by this writer. Another quest book. Cool. I wonder how they're going to do the quest books if they can't change the rules too much. How much more, like, even if a great writer writes a quest for it, it won't be that much better of a playthrough because it's still so limited by the rules. I'm really curious about that. Unless the writer can change rules in the game, then that's worth it. Then these expansions with or these additions of the different quests, they're worth it. Okay, and with Dragon Miniature and game tiles. So you get a lot of stuff here. So they're really trying to push to that 4 million mark. I'd say if they hit it to the 4 million mark, get the game. Well, it's either way. You've made up your decision by now. Look at that. They all fit in here. Who doesn't fit in here? Who's overly stylized? Come on, right here. Look, bandages don't do that in real life. Not that much. They don't get so thick and bulky, right? So everything's stylized. This guy's more stylized than them, but this is like a whole nother level. Just doesn't look like it fits it. There's too many things that go against the theme and things like that. They need to balance it out more, and I think they will. They should, because it's a little too messy. So why will I not be funding it? I thought when it first released, I will be funding it. No doubt. I mean, I do videos about funding board games. That's what I do. That's what I have an addiction in. And I thought I'm going to have this. I don't have my old Heroquest anymore, unfortunately. And the box, just to have the box. Who's funding this just to have this box on their bookshelf, board game shelf? The box is awesome. The miniatures, I'm sure a lot of people are just funding it for the minis and the furniture. I won't fund it unless they show that there are different rules, which they didn't, to make it a more advanced, better quality game that will actually receive a higher, rating on Board Game Geek. Just a little. It doesn't have to be complex. It just has to be a better game, so it's harder to play. Because it's really easy to play Heroquest. To be honest, if you've played board games, it's a very simple game. It really is more for kids. I was hoping if this one was more for higher ages, I would get it. And number two, if they added a solo mode, I would have it. I would have already funded it, but it doesn't. And the other problem is at $99 for the base game, you don't get. Oh, that's ridiculous! You don't get these unlocks. You don't get any of this for $100. Mythic Tier available when stretch goals are met. Right? Plus unlocks. Yeah, but let me make sure. Oh God, that's terrible. You don't ever see a Kickstarter which releases the core game where you don't get the stretch goals. That's really rare. They are such penny pinchers here. And this is a big company. That disgusts me, actually. Now reading this over and realizing it, that's a huge reason not to fund this. You don't get any of those stretch goals, none of those extra quests, none of it for $100 where you get that big box. You get none of this. You don't get the extra silly bard, the uninspired druid. You get none of it for $100. You have to pay $50 more. Who knows in shipping still. For $150, that's when you get 2 expansions, which is a good deal. I mean, if you want all of it, $150 is not bad. So unless you do the $150 deal because you just want everything, that's good. But for $100 and you're not getting stretch goals? What? When have I last heard of that in the campaign? You're spending $100 and you're helping them raise their campaign and they don't reward you for it. Do not boycott it. Buy it secondhand. Don't give them your money straight. Don't get it. Don't go for the, please, don't go for the $100. I never make a video like this saying, don't do this or do that. But don't. It's just, it's not cool. It's not cool for them to not offer that. I mean, it is their option, but every game out there, small publishers, they give you unlocks. You know, it's a reward because you help them. Here you help them fund this game that is all Disney-ish, you know, and yet they don't give you anything for helping them reach that goal. So why should I be excited that it gets this high and give them and fund them because I'm excited for this to unlock? Wait, but I'm not going to get it. Okay, that's enough. But so yeah, if you really like everything, 150, actually $50 isn't that much more for 2 of the expansions and everything. It's really not. I just don't like how they did this. That's really not cool. And if you're not much on Kickstarter, you might not see how this is not very cool. But 150, go for it. Even the 99, if you like what you see and you're fine without getting any of those stretch goals, you'll still get the female versions, you know, of each character, which is cool. Right? Not just the females, but the other sex of all the heroes. I think that's in all Kickstarter, so that's cool. Yeah, the 4 bonus hero minis and the 1 exclusive miniature, which is the HasLab, which is a prisoner. Wow, that's, I mean, people are excited, but come on, it's a prisoner mini. It's not that exciting, right? So anyhow, make up your mind. If you do like the aesthetics, if you are fine with the simplicity of the gameplay, you want to get your kids into it, you just want this on your shelf, you have the money, you have a lot of extra money, go ahead and get it. And if you like that, plus you want to have the expansions, definitely get the $150 one. Get all those extra things. All right, so for me, again, I don't fund it because of, number one, the gameplay is too simplistic. I'm playing Gloomhaven now. I'm loving it, actually. Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion is awesome. And you have a lot of things on the way. So, okay, so in summary, I'm not funding it. 1, because it's too easy of a game. It's not going to do anything for me. 2, I don't have anybody that will really want to play it. And that's an adult. If I had kids, I would definitely get this, I think. So I do like playing these kind of games alone. They don't have a solo version. Look at that. They didn't even like make this book look like it's laying actually on everything. It's just kind of in the air. You know, that stuff you see on Kickstarters, like, you know, smaller Kickstarters ran by a single person. This is a team of people, and they can't make this look a little better. And number 2, I'm not getting it because no solo rule. So number 1, the game's too simple. Number 2, no solo play. Number 3, I was going to fund it $100. I'm not getting all that stretch goal stuff. Hell no. That did it for me. The minis are awesome. I'd say it's worth it for the minis if you really want them. Otherwise, I don't. So that's 3 big reasons why I'm not getting it. Aside for the ideas of, or the thoughts on how Disney-ish it is and all that, and how everything these frickin' days has to look like that. That annoys me. But all that aside, and the funny option for the dual wielder. Oh, I do like those goblins. I almost want this game just for those goblins. They're so awesome. The fish folk. Damn. It's a tough one. I'm going to keep thinking about it too, but I'm very sure, I'd say 80% sure I'm not funding it because of those 3 main reasons. It's too simple. It doesn't have solo. And that's a big one. They don't unlock. You don't get the stretch goals for $100. $100. You don't get the stretch goals. No, I'm not funding this. I'm like 95% sure now. All right, guys. If you agree, let me know. If you don't, let me know. You know, it's just my opinion. I love Heroquest, the original. And I think they're successful on relaunching this and getting new people into it. I think Jaws of the Lion right now at Target is the big game that will get the kids into, the younger people into dungeon crawlers, and a very good access one, introductory one. It's like when Heroquest was out, there wasn't competition, so even its gameplay was awesome at that time. But now, you know, What was I saying? What was I getting at? So I think they're successful on launching this and doing what it's meant to do, getting a whole new group of people after it. But as far as relaunching Heroquest for the adults and hitting the nostalgia and all that, it maybe got that about 50%, 60% right. The Disney-ish thing side to things really killed it for me. But the campaign, that's ridiculous. For $100 is a lot for a board game, you know that, and you don't get the stretch goals. So let me know if you are funding it, and if not, yeah. Again, don't want to attack anybody, just want to share my thoughts. Big fan of the original work, and it's just cool to see something out anyway. So it's cool. It was really fun looking at this and sharing my thoughts. I do think it's a cool campaign, nonetheless. Well, obviously I do. Okay. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for tomorrow's daily board game hunt video. See you then.